So the other option is you can bring well, okay, we'll talk about the upgrades. You can upgrade them to either, you can give them up, like for each Deffkopter, you can give them a big bomb or a buzzsaw. Now the big bomb is, should you take it? Probably not, unless you know, absolutely know, and you're like tailoring your list to a huge horde army. Because then you can turbo boost over like a big squad, and when you pass like a line of sight over it, you drop a big blast. It's not the highest strength or AP, and so you drop it, and you can cause a bunch of damage. But just because the strength isn't very high, you usually don't cause that many wounds for the amount of points that you cost, for the points that it costs to get it. And if that opportunity doesn't present itself, or your Deffkopters die before they get to do that, for whatever reason, it's just complete waste of points. And so it's like, eh. Now the other option is it's very unique to the Deffkopter, is that boys aren't allowed to have power claws. They just can't handle it. If you have a power claw, you are a knob, because knobs get power claws. But a boy on a Deffkopter, they get a buzzsaw, which is a power claw basically. So a buzzsaw, so it's not as great because on the charge, it's, double 3 is only 6, plus 1 for furious charge is 7. So it's only strength 7. And so it's really not nearly as good as a knob with a power claw. I mean, that extra 2 strength, again, against anything that's like not armor 10 on the back. And if it's armor 10 on the back, odds are your rockets are gonna be able to kill it as well. But this is where you can take, if you take only 2 guys and give one of them a buzzsaw, so if they get shot at all or anything happens, there's still a chance you can just kill the one guy, and you can wound allocate, and so you can keep him alive a bit longer. But he can move forward, and if in combat, 3 attacks, strength 7, rear armor, oftentimes if that vehicle hasn't moved because it's, be able to shoot so much, you can quite often pop it as well. And if you give more buzzsaws, then you can do crazy amounts of damage. But the only problem is that a buzzsaw upgrade is the same amount of points as a power claw upgrade, but the power claw upgrade on a knob is just a lot more effective because you get an extra attack and it's an extra 2 strength. And so I'm usually quite wary. I know tons of people love buzzsaws because they can do a lot. And if you're really wanting to get in combat and you're just hunting those squads that aren't good at close combat at all, just with your Deffkopters, you outflank or you turbo boost, whatever, first turn you charge in. It's all power weapons, you hit hard, and you can wipe out tons of squads. But just be wary that that's a lot of points put into those Deffkopters. But again, depending on the situation, could be effective. But you can upgrade every single one of them to a power claw or buzzsaw. And so it can be that is a more fun thing, just because if people know that it's available, they can't avoid you or just shoot you down. And when it's a Deffkopter, like this many points plus the buzzsaw, it's just like too many points into one model, which is not the best way to play orcs, at least in my opinion, tactically, because you don't want to be able to chop off the head of your army. You want to have lots of evenly distributed points, all being effective in their own way, charging at you, and so they're hard pressed to see what to shoot at not. And that's why I don't like things like knob bikers or souping up like a war boss too much and relying on them to do the damage. Is because, well, you can lose them. But elite armies can work. You just gotta play it right. So Deffkopters move super fast. Again, same thing. You want to keep them out of combat usually, unless you have those buzzsaws, and they're really meant to kill vehicles or little weak squads in the back. That's their main purpose. You could bring them in a squad of 5 with twin link shooters, and you can just run around shelling out tons of shots. And you can really avoid everyone, and with your 36-inch range, you'll be able to do a lot of damage. But for the amount of points that it costs, you might be able to might be more effective in other ways. But I would recommend usually, again, it depends on the army, but if you're bringing them, outflank them most of the time. But if you know the opponent, or if you know there's not a lot of options, then by all means, keep them up front that first turn. And like, for example, like Tau battle suits, they can do so much damage, but they're only toughness 3 when it comes, or toughness 4 when it comes to instant death. And so they have those multiple wounds, or like the commander or whatever. And so if you can have a squad of Deffkoptas, turbo boost up the board, and he's like behind cover, but I mean, when you move 20, like 36 inches first turn, plus you're already up 12. And so it's like, you can get line of sight to him. You're gonna be able to get line of sight to him. And so you shoot all those rockets, twin length, you're gonna hit some, you're gonna wound with some, and if he fails his save, or if he doesn't, you know, if he still gets a cover save or whatever, there's a chance that you just wipe out that commander first turn, or wipe out those battle suits with those multiple wounds, and you can just, you don't have to deal with them. And odds are those Deffkoptas will die that next turn. But if you can do that damage, all of a sudden that, you know, jumping back and forth will be eliminated. And there's lots of different situations where they can be good or not. But Deffkoptas usually, I like to keep them in bigger squads, but they can be useful in smaller squads. And if you're not using your fast attack choices, see, I always fill out my fast attack choices. That's why I bring them. But if Deffkoptas are your only fast attack choice and you're bringing them, might as well bring them in individual. Like if you have 3 of them, or even 5 of them, bring them in squad of 2, squad of 1, and then when they're shooting at them, they can outflank. They're doing the same amount of damage. But when you're getting return fire, it's just, now there's 3 squads instead of 1. And so it's hard to concentrate on, and you have to shoot so much more usually. And it's just really annoying. And so same thing, Deffkoptas are meant to just run amok amongst the enemy troops, cause craziness, hopefully kill some tanks or some vehicles while you're at it. But I always have lots of fun with them when I bring them, and they're really fun. And so hopefully I'll be able to bring them in more. I just got to model a bit more because I want to bring in more than 1 or 2 because I love my Warbikers and Storm Boys. So I just, very speed freaky feeling. I love Deffkoptas, and that's it for fast attack choices of Orcs. So stay tuned for future Elite Heavy Support. Happy War.